what is happening in your life and in the world? I'm going to give you my explanation because I know that's the question you've been asking, and all of us have been asking that, and I have an answer, and I'm going to give it to you. You will decide if you are going to believe it, because if you do, it'll make your life and the world so much better. I'm Roger Burnley. I'm an intuitive empowerment life purpose coach, and I have come to that term, all of that, over the years. I'm 71 years old, so I've been doing this a really long time. I've been coaching people for a really long time as well. But there are other things that have come up that I didn't know, just as you didn't know. When we come into the world, we do not know who we're going to become. We don't know what is within us. We don't know what we've been given, because we've all been given something. And it's meant to come out during our lifetimes as we're living. And that's what's happening now. But then we're looking at the world and we're questioning why it's going crazy. Why have all these events happened over all of these years? And we are restructuring. Now let me tell you about that, because I started doing automatic writing in 1989. Now I didn't talk about this very much because I used it to transform my life, because I had a very difficult, challenging life, and all of that work helped me to move through it. And I moved through a lot of junk in my life, so that's why I'm able to coach others and help you move through that as well. But this is a different time. We're moving through a change in our world. It's a galactic change. It's never happened. We've never experienced it. However, I was given all of the information about this. Now that doesn't sound that makes sense to you, because I didn't believe it either. And that's what happens. We don't believe ourselves. We will think that there's this imposter syndrome going on, that we are not the people to do whatever we feel that we were meant to do in this world. And then when so many people do that over centuries, over hundreds and hundreds of years, we end up with a world that looks the way that it does today. And that's why it needed to change. I'm going to tell you this story about how I came to this understanding, because everybody will have their own. I'm going to give you mine, because you can only live what you have come to know and what you have experienced and what you were meant to bring to the world. And I tried to hide this for so long. In 2005, I didn't know this either. Several years ago, somebody discovered something in my closet, a folder that had a dream in there in 2005 that I was in. I don't typically dream, and I definitely don't write them down, but this year, that month, I wrote them down. I don't know. You can't explain certain things. But what it was I was in a room with all of these great spiritual leaders, and we were asked if we would do something. I got up and went up to the front. And when I got there, I said, why did it have to be me? That's what it felt like. And then I said, I went back and I sat down and go, okay, maybe I can forget about it. When I wrote in the dream, at the end of it, I thought maybe I made it all up. Maybe it didn't really happen. Maybe I could let it go, and I wouldn't have to live it out. And then at the end, I said also, a deeper part of me knows that's not the case, that I'm going to have to do it. Just like you have something that's been gnawing at you, something that's been there that you knew you were supposed to do, but you haven't done it yet. This is the time that you were meant to do that. It just takes us a while to move through our limitations and restrictions to come to this place. So, let me tell you how this all came about, so you have a great understanding of it. In 2020, I started receiving different information, and it talked about restructuring. I go, what? What is happening? And it said, you are being restructured, and your world is being restructured, and the United States would lead the way. That made absolutely no sense to me, because at that time in the United States, we were a bit of a mess, and the world was looking at us differently, which they are still to this day, because they're trying to figure out what's going on there. Why are they having all these problems? And I knew that was happening because I wrote about it. Everything, the message that I wrote today said we gave you everything. That's on my site, anyadvicefortoday.com, and you can find it there, and it goes into more detail. But what happened was, after I started receiving that information, and I could see things happening in the world that were bringing it up. It even told me that we might have a war, because when we don't change as humans, this is a civilization that we're changing. And when we don't change, when we're unwilling to change, then we fight. They gave me several messages about blame and all of that. So as this is going on, and I'm writing these messages in 2020, then in 2021, I'm walking down the street and I heard, we gave you everything you needed to know in 2012. I said, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. I come back to my computer when I came in from my walk, and I look at the computer, and there was a folder there that I'd never noticed. Things, you hide things from yourselves a lot, so we don't look at it. Maybe it'll just go away. Anyway, this folder was there, and it said Wilhelm. That's the name that I write under. And I didn't notice it. I didn't pay attention to it. But now I looked at it, and most of the messages in there were from 2012. I go, okay, that's crazy. And then I tried to deny that it happened. I said, no, it couldn't have been me. I didn't have that. And then I started looking at the messages, and they felt a little different, and they felt like they were giving us something to work with. And then after a while, I heard that the name of this is Your Life Operating Instructions, which is a philosophy that I was given. And the philosophy is designed to lead you to your best life, to lead you to living the way that you were meant to. And that process is breaking down all of your limitations, your restrictions, all the stupid stuff you've been telling yourself forever, and reprogram yourself. And so I thought, that doesn't make sense. How did I have that? And then they said, well, we gave it to you. And then right in the beginning of the year in 2012, we said infinite intelligence. You all have it. Everyone does. We just decide how much we're going to accept and believe and bring into ourselves. All the information that has ever existed is available. We can have access to it, but we don't believe that because we've made ourselves insignificant. Then I started doing live channeling sessions because I knew I needed to bring out more, and so much more information was revealed. And if you'd listen to any of the recordings on my YouTube channel, Wisdom from Wilhelm, you will hear things that were recorded last year that are talking about what is happening in our world right now. And there's going to be more of it. So that's why I needed to say, how can I help more? And we all doubt what we have. All of you. Every client I've ever had, we doubt it. And so, but then we do something and we move, and then we start to say, okay, this makes sense. And now I'm comfortable. Now I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And I had to do that because the doubt will drive you crazy unless you start to do something to get out of the way, which is what everyone is meant to do at this time. So I decided, let me test this, because I tried to deny that this had happened. So in December, I put a bunch of people in this program. I called it 4 Weeks to Your Best Life. I said, let's see what happens. And it blew me away because they all transformed. They're not, complete everything, but wow, what a difference in their lives. And then I started thinking, if it happened with them, what would happen if more people did that? If more people understood who they were and they stopped being afraid, and that they stopped doubting themselves. And that's what is happening. Today a client called me, I haven't spoken to him months, maybe even a year, and he's in Norway, and he was having trouble. I had said, if you're confused, let's set up a meeting. So we're speaking today, and I knew that the rest of the world is looking at the United States and going, what's happening? And I said, well, I knew that was coming up because I wrote about it. We have to change. We have to look at ourselves and really heal our hypocrisy, our contradictions, the things that we said. One of the things that came through, and this was 2 years ago, and they were talking about our celebration of the 4th of July, which we're coming upon now, and so there'll be a little more movement. But in that, they said, when you look at what you said, the United States, you were going to be the land for equality for all, but you did something different. You started separating, you started using judgment, you started making different classes of people. And so this restructuring is something that's gone on in the world forever, and we're coming to this place to understand who we are. And everything that came through in the readings, pretty much all the time, said there's no hierarchy of souls, meaning no one is better than another. We just form these beliefs about ourselves, and then we allow those beliefs to cause us to be subjugated. And then we wonder why dictators can take over and rulers that control us, because we haven't taken on our own autonomy. We haven't owned who we are. And this period is helping all of us to come into that. So then what happens is the more people who decide that they're going to work on who they are, decide to love who they are, bring to the world the gifts that they have, then we have no more wars. This period that we're seeing would end. It would end. Now, of course, a lot of people aren't going to believe that because you don't think you're that significant, yet you are. If you're going to go around judging yourself and judging others, you're putting really horrible energy, dark energy into the world. Or if you're going to decide, okay, I'm going to work through my issues, as we call them, my difficulties, and start to feel better about myself, love myself, and then I'm going to see people, other people, in a new way as well. That is what is happening. Now, I would say that I would doubt all of this, except I've already had the results. And people are doing this now, and it's just blowing me away how much they're gaining from this. So you'll have a choice in the next several, we're going to be going through this for about another year before things start to settle down. So you have a choice of what you're going to do. You can continue to deny who you are, fight with others, blame them for every problem that you've experienced in your life, or you're going to decide to work on yourself, get through your blockages, your doubts, your denials, your fear, all of that, and bring something to the world that you always were intended to do. And everyone has that. And if you think that you don't, that's an excuse that you've made. I made that excuse, so I know. I made that excuse, and there's no more of that. We have to change what is happening in our world. And we're with the United States, let's just talk about this, because this year we have an election coming up, so we're still going to be a little crazy up until then. And then it's going to be more things that are going to be revealed, and that came out in all of my live talks, that more will be revealed, and that you didn't understand about yourself, about others, and about the world. And we have to suspend our disbelief so that we can accept the greatness that is within us. When we do that, we will create the world that we want to see, because we're here now to create a better world. That's why the destruction is going on. That's why the conflict is going on. But you change it in your life, and that permeates the world. And the more of us who do that, then we have the world that we want to see. That is my program also.